All right, guys. Hey, primetime stream, second stream of the day. Um, so this is a new thing. I was watching a couple people who everybody knows who I'm talking about, but shall remain nameless, have a discussion and earlier today, and some of the things that were being some of the are you done? Some of the things that were being said. And I'm going to say effing annoyed me because one of the people is triggered by a hat. Saying that a hat antagonizes people and brings about violence. Well, guess what? I'm going to get pissed off tonight because if you think a hat antagonizes people into violence, that's blaming the victim like a girl who's arped because she was wearing too short of a fucking skirt. That is the same damn thing. So don't you fucking get on a stream with 80,000 damn subscribers and tell people that a hat antagonizes people. Especially when you've proved on that stream that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So guess what? I'm gonna prove you fucking wrong on a lot of shit you said. You don't watch my channel because I'm a little too small for you because I ain't fucking big time, but you pissed me the fuck off. And you pissed me the fuck off with that red hat comment. Because a hat that says Make America Great Again antagonizes people. That's the same thing as saying a woman got arped because she was wearing too short of a skirt. She shouldn't have worn provocative clothing because it antagonized the guy and it turned him on. So guess what? Get over yourself. Get off your fucking high horse. You're a parent now. So I started a new stream because I'm a parent too. And if you ever victim blame, I know. Mama getting mad. Yeah. Preach. But that pissed, like, I wrote a super chat that said, holy F. Like, seriously. So, Devil Dog Cody, Megan Fox, and Dave Neal had a debate earlier, progressive versus MAGA. You know, he said when she brought out her MAGA hat that hat antagonizes people. So people who have been attacked because they're wearing a hat that simply says Make America Great Again, which Ronald Reagan started back in the 80s, that is the reason people have been attacked, and that's okay. I'm sure he wasn't saying that it was okay. But yes, ma'am. But literally, when you say that you wearing a certain piece of clothing antagonizes people, somebody please explain the difference to me between what it means when someone wearing a red hat and antagonizes people, and a shirt and a short skirt and a low cut shirt, and a girl is arped, and you say, well, it's because she wore too short of a skirt. She turned on the guy. I lost my absolute effing. And then secondly, Project 25 versus, pants are prison, Dom. Pants are prison. You know what antagonizes me? People who have a platform who aren't informed. Who have 80,000 subscribers and literally don't know what they're talking about. And then when someone tries to explain to them what they're talking about, he gets angry and starts wanting to argue. You know what? I'm a very facts over feelings person, but you pissed me the hell off. And also, when he said JD Vance wrote the foreword for Project 2025, we're going to go with a hell no to that. JD Vance, the same person who, yes, Rogue Mama, I get it. But at the same time, when you say that a hat antagonizes people into being violent, why is that different than saying a girl asked to be ARPed because she was wearing too short of a skirt and the guy couldn't help himself? It's the same damn thing. So this person also said that JD Vance wrote, yeah, it is the same thing, because you say wearing a piece of clothing makes somebody else so upset that they do something, whether it be attack you or ARP you or whatever. You're saying that a piece of clothing is the reason why you got attacked. So that person also said that JD Vance wrote the foreword for Project 2025. He did not. Here is Project 2025. Foreword, Kevin Roberts. That's the president of the Heritage Foundation. What JD Vance did do, and this is where facts matter, because when you say, oh, he wrote the foreword for 2025, no. The person who did write the foreword wrote a book called Dawn's Early Light, which has been, it's pre-release. It's not released till September. JD Vance wrote the foreword to his book. And because a lot of people can't see, or it's pre-ordered, I don't have an advanced copy. No one really knows what that foreword completely says. There are copies, and let me share my screen. So here's Project 2025. So this is a series that I'm going to do, and I'm going to take misconceptions or political myths that I hear on both sides. Something that's repeated over and over again that no one really knows. Thanks. That no one really knows what's true and what's not. So we're going to dig through the bullshit and we're going to get to the facts. Because a lot of people get scared by what they hear in the media. Whether it be the right getting pissed at the left for saying stuff that we don't know if they actually said because we saw it in the media from one person. One person does not speak for an entire group of people. Take note, Matt Walsh does not speak for me as a Republican. Let me get that one straight right away. So I'm fired up, so I'm sorry if I have a little bit of an attitude tonight, but that red hat comment fired me up. And guess what? Thanks, Dave, for giving me content. So no, and see, and that's the thing. It happens on both sides. It's not just you, Flash fan. But you are kind of an inspiration for this because of your honesty with me. Because of your complete honesty, every time you're in my chat and us having a conversation, you've kind of inspired this little tangent of mine. Because it happens on both sides. There is stuff that is said by one person on the left. It's repeated by right-wing talking points, and it turns into this big fucking bullshit that was never actually meant to be that thing. It happens on the left with Project 2025 or the Charlottesville thing. And one of the things I am going to do is take, like, when President Trump speaks at a rally and has a 3-hour-long speech, and you hear snippets, and it sounds bad out of context, I plan on taking the whole, finding the place in the speech and giving you the context and sharing it. Thanks. I hid my phone behind my back because, well, you know. Somebody likes to take it. She took it and I couldn't find it today. It was underneath the couch pillows. And I'm sorry, Rogue Mama, I misconstrued what you were saying. I apologize. Well, thank you for that. I just got hit in the face by a back scratcher. This was my present from Mr. Squid when I was pregnant because I couldn't reach my feet very easily. So he bought me a back scratcher so I could scratch my legs. Well, okay, they call Harris the potential nominee because she is not the official nominee until the delegates elect her at the DNC. So that's part of why it says she's the potential. She's gonna go around hitting crap with that. So that's why it's the potential. But I also think from a political, taking a step back, if I was a leftist, which I'm not, I'm a F the government. Sorry to my FBI handler that's watching. You know, I don't like the government at all. I want them to stay the hell out of my life. But they, I would be pissed that I didn't get to elect somebody or nominate somebody with a primary. I would be super pissed because then it was taken out of the voters' hands. Be it, I'm not a lefty. I don't agree with a lot of stuff lefties say, but at the same time, I'd be pissed if I were them because literally you have a presidential nominee who wasn't elected by the people. Yeah, I'm more of a libertarian, but some of the things libertarians say too freaks me out. Like they're a little off the wall and a little bit crazy for me. I'm just if it's not in the Constitution, it belongs in the hands of the states. And if you don't like what your state does, move. There's my my soapbox. But so we are taking Project 2025. It's a lot of pages, so we're just going to kind of do an overview. But we're going to compare the bullet points of Project 2025 and Agenda 47. Although there are people, and Flash fan, that's why you got to do your own research. If I find something and I can collaborate it with left-wing sources, right-wing sources, and independent sources, then I'm okay a little bit more. But then I try to find like the facts. I don't want to see somebody reporting on Project 2025. I want to actually look at the website and figure it out for myself. Yeah, pretty much. Party that claims to care about democracy just pulled a full fascist play with this election. Yes, they did. And for any of you who are uninformed about Kamala's schedule, however you say her name, and usually I like to make sure I pronounce things right, but I'm so fired up that I really don't care. My family is from where she was last night in Milwaukee. In fact, one of my friends graduated from the high school that she was at last night. She was in a high school gymnasium, and from what I hear, it wasn't filled. So if you can't even fill a high school gymnasium in a liberal city, yeah. So I am going to, when I see an article about something, we're going to investigate the actual documents. I want to know, and I'm going to ask Megan about it, but what exactly the bill was that Dave was talking about with the bipartisan immigration bill. I don't know the actual bill number. And I want to know why it was killed and what was in it that people voted against. Because when you say an immigration bill and people vote against it, the person who doesn't know any better is pissed because they're like, you just voted against something that would help. But when there is, like Megan stated
and don't quote me on her, but she said it could be something in there that there's money for a bridge in Philadelphia that's in this 4,000 page bill. We need to make it one bill, one topic, because that's what is part of the problem, and that I believe is causing some of the divisiveness. Is Democrats will introduce a bill, and it's 1,000 pages long, and it's not all. Oh my goodness! And it's not all on one topic. So when Republicans vote against it, no, and I want to know what bill it was so that I can research it. Yeah, do you happen to know the bill number? Because I was on Congress's website looking for it, and there's like 800 immigration bills, or 800 bills that have the word immigration in it, and it's hard to tell exactly which one. But, and Flash Fan, this might apply to you, because yes, omnibus bills. When there's 1,000 pages in a bill, and there's 800 topics, the main topic might be immigration, but the other topics might be support, or I think this bill had support for Ukraine in it. And we already know that we've spent too much money on foreign wars. So people voted against it because of that. They didn't vote against it because of the immigration part. It was all the other BS that was in it. But when it happens the same thing on Republicans. Republicans introduce a bill, Democrats vote against it, not because of the main part of the bill, but because of some of the other pork in it. And then Republican voters get mad because they're like, well, the Democrats didn't want to do this. That's because there was 800 effing things in it that they didn't want. It had one thing that they wanted, but it had funding for crap that they didn't want. There was a bill a couple years ago that I know that Republicans voted against it. I don't know what the main topic of the bill was. However, there was money in it to support the Met in New York. Why does a government body need to support the Met with money in a bill for that? The topic is for something else. One bill, one topic. So in Megan's chat, somebody brought up the fact that John Ossoff was. Excuse you, ma'am. Excuse you, ma'am. I'm talking. Apparently, I'm not talking. Someone brought up, and I think it was Ruby. She brought up the fact that John Ossoff had a bill to kill, or to stop. Oh, and I can't find the actual. What did I do with it? Oh, I hate when I have so many windows open. It was to kill the Senate's ability to, or Congressman's ability to trade stocks. And I asked her to give me the bill number because I wanted to know what, like, I agree with the title of the bill, but I wanted to know what else was in the bill before I support something that, and thanks, Rogue Mama, I'll click on it and look it up. I wanted to know what was in the bill and how long it was. So without reading it, it's 18 pages. 18 pages is probably one thing, maybe two, but like an 18-page bill, I feel is reasonable. I haven't read through it. I'll do that in another stream, because this one I kind of want to get to because it's the biggest topic in the nation right now. 2020, Project 2025. But what I do want to get to is this Project 2025. We're just going to look at the highlights of it because it's really long and I'm not going to bore you with everything. But it goes over, the foreword is written by Kevin Roberts, not J.D. Vance. So we'll get that one right out of the way. J.D. Vance wrote the foreword for Kevin Roberts' book, which I don't have an advanced copy of, so I can't give you an accurate answer on exactly what it says. With that being said, ooh, and it's raining. People are saying it's the end of the world. This is all the things I've heard, and then we'll figure out if they're true. They want to repeal, I think it's the 19th Amendment that gave women the right to vote. That's one of the things I heard. It would take away, I've heard it would take away Black people's right to vote. And I'm sorry, Flash fan, I know you are Black, but I don't understand the singling out of one race, one minority. Like, if you're going to take away people's right to vote, why would it just be one race? Why wouldn't it be Asians, Hispanics, everything? So, like, that doesn't make any sense to me off the, like, that one doesn't. Ooh, it's really raining outside. So a note on Project 2025. We'll just read this. And they have it as the Presidential Transition Project. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it says on the website, yeah, I don't agree doing it for everybody, like it's for anybody. Let's be clear before my words get twisted. But if I've heard that they're going to take away Black people's right to vote, I love y'all, but why are Black people the only ones singled out in this? If you're going to take away minorities' rights to vote, why not take away all of them? Like, if you're going to, I don't understand why that group of people individually were singled out. That doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever. So here's the note on Project 2025. Let me share this tab. So we want you, the 2025 Presidential Transition Project is the conservative movement's unified effort to be ready for the next conservative administration to govern 12 noon, January 20th, 2025. Welcome to the mission. By opening this book, you are now part of it. I hate that. Don't include me on your bullshit. Indeed, one set of eyes reading these passages will be those of the 47th president. I doubt it, because I doubt it. We hope every other reader will join in making the incoming administration a success. So it goes in, history teaches that a president's power to implement an agenda is at its apex during the administration's opening days. To execute requires a well-conceived, coordinated, unified plan and trained and committed cadre of personnel to implement it. In recent election cycles, presidential candidates normally begin transition planning in the late spring of the election year or even after the party's nomination was secured. That it is too late. The federal government's complexity and growth advance at a seemingly logarithmic rate every 4 years. For conservatives to have a fighting chance to take on the administrative state and reform our federal government, the work must start now. The entirety of this effort is to support the next conservative president. And that's an important word, support, not be the next president's agenda. So there's one issue. Whoever he or she may be, in the winter of 1980, the fledgling Heritage Foundation handed to President-elect Ronald Reagan the inaugural Mandate for Leadership. This collective work by conservative thought leaders and former government hands, most of whom were not part of the Heritage, set out policy prescriptions agency by agency for the incoming president. The book literally put the conservative movement and Reagan on the same page, and the revolution that followed might have never been, save for this band while they're blowing smoke up their own butts. It's not 1980. In 2023, the game has changed. The long march of cultural Marxism through our institutions, basically they say that the left is bad. Pillar 1, this volume puts place a consensus view of how major federal agencies must be governed, and where disagreement exists, brackets out these differences for the next president to choose a path. And I understand this. However, no, Biden was a pawn, Flash fan. Like, Biden was a pawn. Because we all know his cognitive ability was not good enough to make decisions. Somebody else was making those decisions. I don't know who, but his cognition is not there. From someone who worked and tested people for their cognition for about 6 years, out of the two, and yes, you have a good point. In some way he is, but everyone is to varying degrees. Pillar 2 is a personnel database that allows candidates to build their own professional profiles and our coalition members to review and voice their recommendations. These recommendations will then be collated and shared with the president-elect's team, greatly streamlining the appointment process. So basically, that's just giving him a list, and I don't see anything wrong with that. Giving him a list of people who might be qualified and are conservative. Fine. That doesn't mean he has to choose this. And this doesn't mean he has to choose everything. This is a far right, and sorry, Heritage Foundation, you make me look like a loony lefty. Pillar 3, Presidential Administration's Academy online educational system, taught by experts from our coalition. For the newcomer, this will explain how the government functions and how to function in government. For the experienced, we'll host in-person seminars with advanced training. I don't see that ever happening. And set the bar for what is expected of senior leadership. I don't ever see that happening. Especially people that have a problem and say Trump's the end of democracy. One, we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. And secondly, he's already been president for 4 years and we all survived. In fact, we were thriving. I was taking home more money than I had ever. In Pillar 4, the playbook, we are forming agency teams, drafting transition plans, and moving out upon the president's utterance of "so help me God." So my thing, and this was written by Paul Dans, director of Project 2025. My thing with this is the fact that Trump's already been president and didn't need any of that bullshit. So what makes them think that he's going to use it now? And I know they almost drive safe, Cody. And I know they do this every election cycle. But Trump's already done this. If he gets elected again, he's already done this. So they go into, let's see, White House office, Section 1, taking the reins of government. Executive office, central bureau or personnel agencies managing the bureaucracy. Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, they go down each. General Welfare, Agriculture, Department of Education. And they break it down into each. So some of it I can see being helpful, but I don't think that Trump cares. I think he's got bigger fish to fry. He's already done it. He doesn't care. So we're not going to get into all of these. However, this goes into each, like, I want to see what the Federal Reserve says. So the Federal Reserve starts on page 731. So you can see how long this is. And do you really think Trump's going to sit down and read 1,000 pages when he already has? Hey, Roy, I'm a bit fired up, as you can tell. If you go back and watch the first 15 minutes, I cussed a lot, said a lot of the cursey words up front. Got to get them out of the way. But we're just talking about the differences between Project 2025 and what it actually says and is. Broad recommendations. Eliminate the dual mandate. Federal Reserve was originally created to furnish an elastic currency and rediscount commercial paper so the supply of credit could increase along for the demand for money. Limit the Federal Reserve's lender of last resort function. Wind down the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. Until the 2008 crisis, the Federal Reserve never held more than $1 trillion in assets, bought largely to influence monetary policy. Since then, these assets have exploded, and the Federal Reserve now owns nearly $9 trillion of mainly federal debt and mortgage-backed securities. There is currently no government oversight. See, and this is where I do agree with the Heritage Foundation, this whole no government oversight. So there is no government oversight for the Federal Reserve. Okay. That's what I don't agree with. People who work for the government who are not accountable to anybody. Yeah, she did. But I'm trying to get rid of some misconceptions about it, that this is Trump's platform. So I'm going into exactly what it is, why it was written, and who it was written by. Because everybody hears the Heritage Foundation and think conservative. Yes, but who is the Heritage Foundation? They are one of the most conservative groups. They make me look like I went off the lefty deep end. And I'm more of a libertarian, but when you're only in a two-party system, you gotta, yeah. Everyone thinks it belongs to Trump. And I'm kind of going through like an overview of it because I do have Trump's Agenda 47 up, and I want to kind of show people the differences. And some of this I don't hate. I hate how it's presented. Like, I feel like you could do this I'm a straight to the point person. I wrote my writing. My writing is very medical. It's patient did this with this. This is how long it took. This is why we did it. This is what we're going to do next time. I didn't have the time to, I did not have the time to use excess words where they did not belong. This is page 734. So, but here, and it does have facts in here, along with, if you really want to look at it, facts along with what I'm assuming are references, because there's numbers, like it would be references. So between February 2020 and August 22, home prices increased 42%. Residential properties in the property prices in the U.S. adjusted for inflation are now 5% above their prior all-time records in 2006. The home price to median income ratio is now 7.68, far above the prior record high of 7.0 set in 2005. So it goes into things that they want done. And these are recommendations that they want done as conservatives. That doesn't mean that the person who gets elected on either side is going to, yeah, I don't think it's a deep fake. People change, people's appearances change as they age. Shit happens. Like, do I believe that he's pumped up with some drugs to be able to like be coherent? Yeah, because I think there's actually something medically wrong with him. Dementia, yes, but I think there is a cause of that dementia. Like, I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to remote diagnose, and I'm not a doctor. But my opinion is there's something seriously wrong. So that's kind of what they go into, and they use a lot of words, and they explain why. So if you really truly want to read it, they do have, and that's the thing, people tell you what it is, and I guarantee you people telling you what it is haven't actually read it. They ain't got the time to read. Did he actually have a TIA? I've heard that, but like actually, So one of the things that we can go back to, and let's go. I worked with stroke patients, and I don't know. I got things to, like, I got opinions from a therapy perspective that will have to be for, yeah, I didn't even watch it. I'll go back and, yeah. It's Flash Fan. It is way more than 700 pages. That was 734, and that was only topic 24 at the Federal Reserve. But it goes into different things, and so Federal Elections Commission, we'll see what they have to say about that. And I'm slowly getting faster at this thing. Needed reforms. So these are things from a conservative perspective that they think need reformed and need changed. Nomination authority. So, and they say why. So this is their whole platform broken down into every. Yeah, and I can't find, in what I've read, I cannot find where it would take away a woman's right to vote. I don't like, I don't see that happening. That's why it was like, maybe it was in federal elections, so we'll see. So the president must ensure that the DOJ, just like the Federal Elections Commission, is directed to only prosecute clear violations of FECA. So I'm trying to find where while a president's ability to make any changes in an independent agency like the FEC is limited. Yes. Hi. Oh, thank you. I'm so sorry. See, and that's what I hate. Like, I hate when and some people just don't realize what's happening. And then some people do that crap on purpose. Some people scare people on purpose. They get paid. They get paid by the click. So you don't actually need to read the article for them to get paid. So they come up with a crazy headline, clickbait. And I know about clickbait because, I make thumbnails now. So I'm learning a little bit more how to catch people's attention. Yeah, I don't know if that would actually, like, because I don't exactly know what I'm looking for. So, or how it's worded. Because people in the news, when they say it, they get it twisted. Raise contribution limits and index reporting requirements to inflation. Okay. And then in the ed notes, they have all the references that they used. Oh, English. I'll get this English thing down eventually. So I will go through over the next coming days everything to see if I can. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. Because, yeah. See, and that's the thing. But they weren't trying to scare you deliberately. But the people who who they watched to find that out might have had the intention to misinform on purpose. And then your family, not knowing, just passes along the information, and then I can. Let me put it in the... That is Project 2025. Yeah, I have opinions on that, but I'm not as informed as I was a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago. Yeah. And we're just trying to make sure you stay informed from an early age. Yep. Yep, it's going to be a long night. I'm not saying to not want a better government, and better government can be argued in the details. That is true too. So we're going to, now that we've kind of given an overview of what, I need that, please. Excuse you, ma'am. I'm going to put your butt on the floor. You're tired and you need to go to sleep. So I'm not trying to say what all this is, because that's the policy. There's personnel. So there's training, Presidential Administration Academy. Like, some of this is just, like, seriously? Like, oh, I did not know that, Roland. I will, and you're the resident expert on that because you are closer to that area of the world than we are. Excuse you, ma'am. I need these hands, please. Oh. Yeah, that is closer to a dictator. But let's go through Agenda 47 and see the differences of not only what is being said, how it's laid out, but also the size and the readability. So here is Agenda 47. So it's got, typical website. It's got your text number, how to contribute. So Agenda 47, President Donald Trump declares war on cartels. So we'll see. So look how just how much shorter this is. And he lays out exactly what he plans to do. So President Donald Trump's plan to destroy drug cartels. A quote, "The drug cartels are waging war on America, and now is the time for America to wage war on the cartels." President Trump laid out an aggressive plan to dismantle the criminal trafficking networks that are destroying lives and communities on both sides of the border. And I can appreciate that he not only cares about our side of the border, but this is not cheap or easy for Mexico either. Yeah, it's been storming. I sent a pic earlier to Rogue Mama and Rosalind, because it was my driveway was turning into a swamp or a river. I think does our Constitution do that too? So Trump's action plan. So he actually lays out what his idea is. Restore all Trump border policies and fully secure the border, including remain in Mexico. All the stuff that Biden got rid of on day one. Deploy all necessary military assets, including the U.S. Navy, to impose a full naval embargo on the cartels to ensure they cannot use our region's waters to traffic illicit drugs. That's fair. Yeah, I don't see a sovereign nation being annexed. it probably would be it would probably be the only way to do it, but yeah, I don't see that going over well. Yeah, a secure border. And that's the other thing that I got super annoyed with is the implication that because I didn't want illegal immigrants coming over the border, that I don't care about people and I don't want immigration. No, what I want is our fucking congressmen and senators to get off their asses and make the process of becoming an American citizen easier. Get rid of some of the red tape, get rid of some of the paperwork, the length of time, and figure out a way to make that easier. Not and see, and my idea of crime reform is not okay. Getting on my soapbox and welcome to my TED Talk. My idea of the criminal justice reform is not getting rid of bail. It's to make sure that in prisons, people are being treated fairly, appropriately. People in prisons are safe. And there's also a way to rehab people. Because it's proven that when a person goes to prison, they get out, they have no resources, they're more likely to commit crimes again. Because guess what? In prison, they had 3 meals. They had shelter. So when these people get out of prison, when they go to prison for dumb shit like pot for a long time, which Kamala Harris, thank you very much for locking up thousands of people, in mostly Black men in California, for small drug crimes. Instead of getting to the heart of the problem, they're just masking it, throwing people in prison. And then when people are in prison, they get into not great stuff. I've never been to prison, but I've watched 60 Days In enough to know that there's not good stuff that happens in jails. And people don't get rehabilitated. And then people come out with no resources and they go right back in because they had roof, they had 3 meals a day. And they don't have that when they get out. So there's my little soapbox on criminal justice reform. We need to get to the legislative side, not enforcing the laws. If you don't like the laws, stop not enforcing them. Go to Congress and change them, because that's what their job is to do. DAs, they're in charge of enforcing the laws. But guess what? If you don't like the laws, lobby Congress to change them. That's their job. Okay. Getting off my soapbox. And so, let's see. Order the Department of Defense to make appropriate use of special forces, cyber warfare, and other covert and overt actions to inflict maximum damage on cartel leadership, infrastructure, and operations. Designate the major drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. That right there is that right there. You are now a foreign terrorist organization, which means the full weight of the government can come after you like a terrorist organization. I love that. Cut off the cartels' access to the global financial system. I think that'll be hard, but, and ask Congress to ensure drug smugglers and traffickers can receive the death penalty. I think traffickers deserve Lord Chippy. If any of y'all follow Mo in the Deep End, if you don't follow Mo in the Deep End, go give her a follow. She's amazing. But we have the nuclear reactor to fire up Lord Chippy. Traffickers need Lord Chippy. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I wish I had that clip. Get the fucking chainsaws ready. And then he goes into what Biden did, which I'm not getting into that because, and hey, Brad, I'm not getting into the what Biden has done. I'm just getting into what Trump's ideas are. Because if you want to read what Biden has done, you could do that on your own. But do you see how much different this is compared to Project 2025? Like, this is Project 2025 is a wish list from a very conservative, uber conservative think tank. A wish list. It's like, here's our wish list. Please do what you will with it. You can't always get what you want. Yes. And that's okay. I never thought we'd we'd be besties or go out and have a beer. However, the upfrontness and the bluntness, it's very hard to lie to someone when you're that blunt. Because you just, it rolls, and I can relate to him with that because it rolls off the tongue before you have a chance to think about it. But that is how you ensure that someone is not lying, is when they don't stop to think about it, unless you have a disease, like a mental disorder that allows you to lie to people without, which I'm not getting into the DSM-5. We ain't got time for that. She's on the floor right here, almost like she might fall asleep right here. I'm not going to complain about it. Would I like her to be in bed? Yeah. But, I'll take what I can get. Nope, there we go. I spoke too soon. And he has a transcript of what he has said in this video. So, come on.
Fentanyl, heroin, meth, and other lethal drugs are pouring across our wide open border, stealing hundreds of thousands of beautiful American lives. And it's happening like never before in our history. Children are being left without parents. Families are being ripped apart. Communities are being decimated. Our neighbors and fellow citizens are having their entire worlds destroyed like nobody thought possible. Our country is being poisoned from within by the drugs and by all of the other crime that's taking place. The drug cartels are waging war in America, and it's now time for America to wage war on the cartels.
I am going to try to go put her in bed real quick. I'm going to let this play. It's 4 minutes long, so I should be back. Hey, Rogue Mama, when I get back, can you just tell me page numbers and I'll look? Thank you for searching for me.
War, Joe Biden has sided against the United States and with the cartels. They are making more money than they've ever made before, times 10. There's never been anything like it. They're major, major companies. They're bigger than even some of our biggest companies. Biden's open border policies are a deadly betrayal of our nation. When I am president, it will be the policy of the United States to take down the cartels, just as we took down ISIS and the ISIS caliphate, and just as, unlike the situation we're in today, we had a very, very strong border, the strongest border, in fact, in the history of our country. And drugs were at a low of 45 years. There's been nothing like what we did just 2 years ago. We will show no mercy on the cartels. Every day, drug traffickers are using the waters of our region to ship their lethal poisons to America, killing so many of our people and ruining families. In addition to restoring strong border security, I will deploy all necessary military assets, including the U.S. Navy, to impose the full naval embargo on the cartels. I did that before, and it worked. What we did was incredible. We will guarantee that the waters of the Western Hemisphere are not used to traffic illicit drugs to our country. Furthermore, I will order the Department of Defense to make appropriate use of special forces, cyber warfare, and other overt and covert actions to inflict maximum damage on cartel leadership, infrastructure, and operations. I will designate the major cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We will sever their access to global financial systems. I will also work to forge an unprecedented partnership with neighboring governments in our region, just like I did in Mexico. And remember, in Mexico alone, an estimated 100,000 civilians have been tragically murdered or gone missing at the hands of these cartels. The Mexican government, run by a very fine man, the president, is really working hard, but it's not working out. These cartels are vicious and they're violent, and they have Mexico for now stymied. Well, we have to help Mexico, and we have to stymie the cartels. Either we will get the full cooperation of other governments to stop this menace, or we will expose every bribe, every kickback, every payoff, and every bit of corruption that is allowing the cartels to preserve their brutal reign. And it is
This was
indeed
posted
brutal.
in December of 2023.
Finally, as I have said before, I will ask Congress to pass legislation ensuring that drug smugglers and human traffickers receive the death penalty. The drug cartels and their allies in the Biden administration have the blood of countless millions on their hands. Millions and millions of families and people are being destroyed. When I'm back in the White House, the drug kingpins and vicious traffickers will never sleep soundly again. We did it once, and we did it better than anybody else.
Yeah, and see, people say that he lies. I just think he exaggerates because you know, you've heard them, the best ever, this, that. People have made memes about that. I just think if he would quit that shit, like, people wouldn't be able to accuse him of lying because he just exaggerates. Most men do. You know. Yeah, and the subsections in Project 2025 are for each individual, like, FBI, each individual bureaucracy. So there was that. And, like, back to videos. But it's very, like, I mean, see, this one is one that interests me. And, like, literally, he just has the video. It says, on day one, President Donald J. Trump will sign an executive order to cut off Joe Biden's massive spigot of funding for shelter and transport of illegal aliens, which I can agree with. Because I don't agree with being here illegally. They're breaking laws. You know, if you break a law, sorry. And redirect those savings to provide shelter and treatment for homeless American veterans. That I can get behind. And then he goes into the transcript of the video, which I'm not gonna play. Let's see. Rogue Mama, I'm just checking my messages. Um, 587. Okay. I'll look at that when I get done with this. No welfare for illegal aliens. Okay. Seems pretty cut and dry. The American Academy. This is the one I want to see. And this was posted November 1st of 2023. So this is not new. It's been posted for a while. That's why he doesn't have the bandage on his ear, because this video was old, along with people they were watching videos of him at the RNC. And they were saying, well, he doesn't have the ear patch. He wasn't shot. That's because these videos were filmed well before July 13th. President Donald J. Trump will endow the American Academy with billions we will collect by taxing the large endowments of private universities plagued by anti-Semitism. Okay. Let's see with the transcript. And most importantly, the American Academy will compete directly with the existing and very costly four-year university system by granting students degree credentials that the U.S. government and all federal contractors will henceforth recognize. The Academy will award the full and complete equivalent of a bachelor's degree. In addition to help the 40 million Americans who have some college education but no degree, the American Academy will grant credit for past coursework at legacy institutions and give you the chance to complete your education at the American Academy for free and much more quickly than is now possible or available. That's interesting. I don't know. Oh, I know. I know not to take you seriously in most things you say. I figured that out by now. But I was just making a point that I've heard. I know you were joking, but people have said it. I've heard legacy media say it. And it's like, I've heard commenters in the AP's chat. It was, you were joking, but those people weren't. And to spread this misinformation like this with certain things, I don't know if, in a certain person, I don't know if he's just uninformed or he's lying. Or maybe both. Yeah, and liberal arts degrees do have their place, but it's the person who gets a liberal arts degree with no, like, you know, plan of what they're going to do. It's the person who wants to be a dance teacher. I had a friend, went to college, got a liberal arts degree with a minor in dance. Got out of college and couldn't get a job. And wondered why she couldn't get a job. Yeah, and the problem is too, a lot of like philosophy majors, people like that go on to be doctors, lawyers, things like that. But the problem is, in order to be a doctor, a lawyer, a psychologist, you have to get a master's degree. So a bachelor's in psychology gets you nowhere. Which is one of the reasons that I went for occupational therapy assistant, because occupational therapy requires a master's or a doctorate. What if I got my bachelor's in kinesiology and I couldn't get a job, or I couldn't get into, because not everybody gets into a master's program. So if you don't get in, now you're stuck being a rehab aide. You don't get paid enough to pay off your loans. So I went and got a surefire associate's degree so that I could at least get a job. Was it where I wanted to be? No. But it was a decently, if not high-paying job with an associate's degree. Did I have people younger than me in charge of me? Unfortunately. But at the same time, I had a job. It's a lot of these degrees, even the ones that don't seem useless, like kinesiology, psychology, for a lot of the jobs, you need a master's degree. Athletic training, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy needs a master's. Like, you can't do much with a bachelor's. So you just wasted all this money, and now you can't get into grad school because your grades in your undergrad program weren't the greatest. It's this never-ending cycle of, yeah. That's the thing. Now everything requires higher level degrees. So what you, I agree with Megan and trade school, because not everybody is going to need a physical therapist in their life, but everybody is going to need a heating and air conditioning guy. Everybody's going to need a plumber. Everybody, I know they hate, like, we all look, not all of us, but you look down on the garbage men. That is a really, really good paying job. And what happens if they weren't there? These are people who are needed in society, who make decent money, that if we just stop looking down on these jobs because they don't require a degree. Yeah, my garbage guys, my UPS driver, my FedEx driver, but we were on a first name basis with our former UPS driver. Like, that's how awesome he was. So, like, oh, I appreciate you. Yeah, it's what you are part of the reason that inspired this. And then the stream earlier was like, holy fuck, when you have 80,000 subscribers and you are spewing misinformation, I can't tell if you're just uninformed or you're lying. I have a really big problem because that's 80, and I only have 368 people. Would I love 80,000? Yeah. Will I ever hit 80,000? Probably not. However, the fact that you have that many subscribers and you're spewing information on stuff, you're spewing information, your opinion, as if it's fact. And that's what I have a problem with. I like facts. I like to back up my facts with words, like with information, and not an article saying this person said, this person said. I like the actual information, like the bill, the website, to get the primary source. I don't like secondary sources. So well, I'm glad y'all like it. I'm going to do a couple others on like some of the other things I hear. And I don't know if y'all have any ideas of what you would like dissected. Yeah. That's yeah. Yep, everyone needs a plumber, an electrician. Those are really good paying jobs with not a lot of schooling. A lot of times you need an apprenticeship, which you have to get into, but like those are jobs that we need, because if those people don't exist, your car mechanic. I'm sorry, I love you, Dad, but you're really good at certain things, but Mom is a better mechanic than you are. Like, we all look at this, like, you drive this Tesla, who gonna fix it? Who gonna fix it? So Rogue Mama did a search of women and vote and found nothing about taking away women's right to vote. She did send me page numbers of a bunch of things that well, guess what? You're not alone. And I'm not completely informed on everything either. And that's part of this is a journey together of hearing something that we see in the news that everybody takes as fact. Well, let's see. Tesla needs someone to fix them panel gaps. Just saying. You ever seen the panel gaps on a Tesla? They're hideous. If you get up close and personal with a Tesla, it ain't pretty. Just saying. So that one was interesting. The American Academy. That's something that I had never heard before. Yeah, this one is a spicy subject that I kind of have opinions on, but like everybody does what they do, okay? But the original idea of an abortion was a medical procedure, and that's where I'm like, people are confusing, and I believe the person on the stream earlier was confusing what an abortion actually is and Planned Parenthood, I just want to get rid of my pregnancy. An abortion is technically a medical procedure to get rid of a pregnancy that started in a hospital. That started as, hey, I have this. Technically, when you have an ectopic pregnancy, technically getting rid of that is an abortion, even though that's not a true pregnancy because it never made to your uterus, but that's semantics. But like, there's a difference between a medical purpose and I just don't want to be pregnant or I forgot to take my birth control. Like there's a big difference between what it was supposed to be and what it's being used at. And I think that's the distinction that a lot of people on the left that I've talked to fail to understand, because they're like, well, it's a woman. Yes, that's not that. No one's taking away a doctor and her, like, for her health. It's the, I had unprotected sex, I got pregnant, and I don't want to be pregnant, and I'm going to go get rid of it. Like, that is a different, that is two completely different topics. Yeah. And that is the line that I think that the wire gets crossed. Like, no one is saying that if I have an ectopic pregnancy that my doctor can't get rid of it. Like see, I'm hoping you're joking on that one, because anyway, we're just gonna skip over that one. American auto workers. President Trump's pledge to homeschool families. 10 principles for great schools leading to great jobs. This is I'm kind of interested in this. Restoring parental rights. Okay. Great principals and great teachers. Sounds reasonable to me. Yeah, and that's a medically necessary issue. And when that, most likely a DNC, which is technically, but that is completely different than I don't want to be pregnant anymore. There's two separate, and the left tries to make it think that when people are against abortion, and I am somewhere in the middle, there's a lot of gray area there. I don't really have an 100% opinion. My opinion is not set in stone. It changes. But when the left says that they're taking away women's rights, they include medical abortions like this, something that was necessary because the pregnancy was no longer viable. And I am so sorry for your wife and you, because it's not easy on either one of you. Yes, exactly. But that is different than I don't want to be pregnant anymore. And those are two separate issues that the left is conflating into one. And that's not the same thing. Those are two separate issues. And the left tries to make people think that it's one issue. And that if you get rid of this one, that you're automatically, if you get rid of, okay, hypothetically, if we said no, if there was a law with no second or third trimester abortions, they make that think that if you have a miscarriage in your second trimester, that there's nothing that can be done for you. Sorry. No. That's a completely separate issue. That is not I don't want to be pregnant anymore. Yes, there are times when it is needed. And that is a completely separate issue. Nope. Yep, you're right. Unborn kid was an abortion. Yeah, that wasn't an abortion. That was murder. And not disagreeing with the people who say an abortion is murder. But there's a difference between birth control abortion and medically necessary abortion. I'm sorry. I feel for anybody. I have a friend who has had multiple abortions, and I feel so bad for her because the first time that she got pregnant was the same time that I got pregnant. And I was like, cool, the two of my other friends, we're all going to be pregnant together. And then that didn't happen. So I can't imagine. So getting back to 10 principles for great schools. Knowledge and skills, not CRT and gender indoctrination. That's a parent's job. President Trump will get critical race theory, and I don't agree with critical race theory because I don't believe that any race is better than anybody else. We all the same. We all bleed red. We're all given certain opportunities and certain setbacks, and it's what we do with it. And yes, some people are born into more privilege than others, but it's not a race thing. Because Obama's kids were born into a wealthy family, and they ain't white. Is that white privilege? Yeah, I don't believe that any race is, and I also don't think it's the teacher's job to teach that. I believe that if the parent thinks that, the parent can teach it. So keep all that. Yeah, it's red. Pink sometimes. So, and then it goes into what a love of country. See, and I remember saying the Pledge of Allegiance as a kid. And guess what? If you didn't agree with it or you didn't want to say it, you either stepped out in the hall or you just didn't say it. Like, there was none of this, freedom to pray, safe, secure, and drug-free, universal school choice, project-based learning, internships and work experience. I like that. Getting and see, we had that when I was a kid. We had work experience and job shadows, and hey, it's going. We're raging. Well, is it octopuses or octopi? Well, humans all bleed red, a shade of red, not necessarily the same shade. We're just kind of going over Agenda 47 and comparing it to how Project 2025 was super long-winded. And was that Octomom? Just saying. And comparing and contrasting how they're written and the clear and concise words of Trump versus the 800,000 pages of Project 2025. And he's got videos on each topic. Death penalty for human traffickers. Not saying I disagree with that. Oh, okay. I'm slow. Agenda 47, returning production of essential medicines back to America. Yes. Our prescriptions would be much cheaper if they were made here. And probably a little safer, too. Rebuilding America's depleted military. Protecting students from the radical left and Marxist maniacs infecting educational institutions. Protecting Americans by taking on big pharma and ending global freeloading. Global freeloading, I can have a good night, Dom. I'll see you later. Have a good, ending global freeloading. I agreed with him the last time when he said everybody paying their fair share. Like, why are we paying for everybody else? Why are we being the world's police? Yep. I'm not Canadian, but you can get a lot of the same meds online from Canadian pharmacies for cheaper. You didn't hear it from me. And that's not medical advice. Oy. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. See, this one. I kind of want to see impoundment power of the executive branch. Reestablishing balance of power between the legislative and executive branches. On day one, President Trump will direct federal agencies to identify portions of their budget where massive savings are possible through impoundment power while maintaining the same level of funding for defense, Social Security, and Medicare. President Trump will take action to challenge the constitutionality of limits placed on the impoundment power by the Congressional Budget and Impoundment Control Act of 1974. I didn't even know that. We're going to look that up later. I might make a separate video on that. Canada, our mortal enemy. Yeah, that's the only thing that the VA, well, not the only thing, but that's one thing I do like about using VA medicine. It's one of the only things, but I am over 50% disability, so I don't pay for my meds. But, you know, I also try to be on as little meds as possible. Hi, girl, you need to go to sleep. Ugh, I can't wait till we get to the point where I can tell her, go to your room and lay down. You don't have to go to sleep, but you need to be in bed because we aren't to that point yet. She needs someone to lay down with her and sleep. Yeah, that's the thing. People, and some people by choice and others just because, like through no fault of their own, don't know this existed. So that's one of the reasons. Like, I know I have a super small channel and there's only 9 people watching right now, but if y'all could share this stream, like it, share it, help me with the algorithm and get this out there, because all this is Agenda 47, donaldtrump.com/Agenda 47. It's so easy to find. It's just people won't. Yeah. Sorry. I don't care who you are. I don't listen to celebrities. I take what they say and do my own research. They are professional liars. Like, they get paid millions of dollars to lie and to act like somebody else. Why should I believe a word that comes out of their mouth when it comes to politics? 1, they ain't politicians. And 2, they're professional liars. Like, actors literally get paid to lie and act like somebody else. Like, so yeah, exactly. Like, I don't mean to call them liars, like everything they say is a lie, but like, you are literally paid. JKD Buck, you know, the biggest thing that I had a problem with Alec Baldwin is not his Trump derangement syndrome, but, and Flash Fan is also our resident historian. So all questions about dates, ask him. He needs to start his own channel. Maybe one day he will, but he needs to start a history channel. No pun intended. It's, yeah, George Looney. Yeah, like that JKD Buck, you know, that was my biggest problem with Alec Baldwin, is not what happened per se, but you want me to believe what you say, and you're a big hypocrite. You tell me that you don't want me to have pew-pews, but yet you make millions of dollars using them in movies, and apparently using them very recklessly. But that's another subject that we already talked about. Also, President Trump will also work with Congress to overturn the limits of the CBA. In passing the CBA, Congress handcuffed the president from preventing wasteful spending. That's fair. And I do know that people say that Trump increased the national debt. And I can see your point. but please provide numbers, and please tell me the last president who didn't. Oh, yeah, World War II is my, World War II history is my jam. I would love to go. I follow, if you guys don't follow the History Underground, really good channel for history. Jesus, Pete, no, don't even, oof. Don't even, ooh. Can we just delete that? Let's pretend that that wasn't said. Curly, you need to go to sleep. You really do. You really need to go to sleep. Like, oh boy. Like, yeah, no. Have a good night. And thank you for your help, Rosalind. I appreciate it. Big brothel. So there's a general overview. I'm not, like I said, we've been at this for almost an hour and a half. Hey, David, how are you? Welcome to my my rage stream. So you can go, and I'll post this link in the chat. But that is his platform. So everybody who says it's Project 2025, it's not. And it, like, one day executive order ending citizenship for children of illegals and outlawing birth tourism. People who come here and have their children here that are automatically U.S. citizens. So there's 3 pages of this. So he lays out every point of his plan pretty clearly, pretty straight to the point. Like, there's not a lot of fluff. Protect Medicare and Social Security. Free speech policy, total ban on taxpayer dollars used to free illegal aliens, and criminal penalties for administrative non-compliance. Hey, look at that. Like, criminal penalties for administrative non-compliance. You know what that would do if he did something like that, or anybody did something like that for DAs who don't enforce laws? I mean, so that's that. And let's see, we're going to go back to Project 2025. And she took my phone. Sorry. I had to, so, page is that. I'm trying to get page numbers. Department of Health and Human Services, which I don't exactly have a page number. I saw it. I know it's here. Health and Human Services. But protecting life, conscience, and bodily integrity. Fundamental right to life. Uphold bodily integrity rooted in biological realities. That's fair. Empowering patient choices and provider autonomy. Basic economics holds that costs tend to decrease and quality and options tend to increase when there's a robust and free competition in the provision of goods and services. Healthcare is no exception. Healthcare reform should be patient-centered and market-based, and should empower individuals to control their healthcare related dollars and decisions. Like, post an act about Project 2020 will ban this or that. Ask them what page that is on, saying, are you reading it, and want to know where you can find it. it's a really good idea. And thanks, Joanna. I'm really glad that you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying doing it because I'm learning at the same time as you, because I knew what it was and who made it. I just didn't know everything that was in it. I knew that it wasn't President Trump's agenda. I knew that it was made by the Heritage Foundation, but I didn't know exactly, and I knew it was really long, but I didn't know how it was laid out. Promoting stable and flourishing married families. Families comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundation of a well-ordered nation and a healthy society. Unfortunately, family policies under He Who Shall Remain Nameless are fraught with agenda items focusing on LGBTQ and equity. Subsidizing single motherhood, disincentivizing work. Yes, when you get paid more, and this is one of the issues I had with a position on the stream earlier was, and that Megan brought up, was that she knew somebody that was on welfare or food stamps or something, got a job, and then that was taken away, and she was making more on government assistance than she was in life. And it's like, that's not right for me. Like, that is, you should make more. And I know there's a lot to that. Excuse you, ma'am, that's my phone. And I know there's a lot to it, but you should never. Thank you, Tammy, for the Venmo. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And we're like 1,400 watch hours. So we're over half the subscribers we need, and we're almost halfway on watch hours to being monetized. Yeah, that would be great. 1981 is what they mentioned in the thing, but I didn't realize there was one going all the way back to 1921. Yeah, so this is not new either. This is so I have a little mini like printer that's like a heat printer, and she just printed a QR code, and I have absolutely no idea what it is. Yes, thank you. I can't, like, it's a dream to be monetized. If it happens, it happens. But I'm hoping the more I'm trying to diversify my platform, so to speak, doing the smaller trials, things that nobody else is covering, because if Legal Vices and I are doing the same trial, one, I like Legal Vices, so I'd rather watch his coverage than mine. And two, most other people feel the same as me. So I'm doing smaller trials. FlashFan has sent me a couple that I have to look into. But I've also done the RNC. I think I'm going to do this on a weekly basis until the streams might not be as in-depth as this one, because the myths and the misconceptions will be smaller than this. You know, usually we don't get an 1,100-page misconception. But I'd like to take small things, probably do it on a weekly basis, maybe Wednesday nights, don't know, but trying to diversify my platform so that I hit a lot of different people or different things different people are interested in. So we're trying to thank you. I was going to ask you who was president in 1921, because I don't remember. There was a time when I could recite every president, and now I'm like, I know number 1, number 2, number 16, you know, things like that. But so not everything, so we've learned that not everything is in Project 2025 is horrible. Project 2025 is from a very conservative think tank. 3, there is nothing in there about taking away women's right to vote. And seriously, though, like I've said this before, but do you know how hard it is to repeal an amendment? FlashFan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it takes both houses of Congress with a 2/3 majority the president, and then 2/3 of the states need to ratify it. You really think 2/3 of the states are going to be like, yeah, that's a good idea? No. Like, no, 2/3 of the states are not going to be like, yeah, let's take away this right for half of our population. That's just dumb. To even try to put that out there shows how uninformed about government and history that our nation really is. Yes, it's the wish list of the ultra conservative. The ultra conservative. And we all know President Trump is not ultra conservative, considering he donated to Democrats for over half his life. So, yeah, I know it has to get voted on by the states. I was just not sure how, and I know it was a higher majority. It wasn't just a 51% in the House and the Senate. I know it was a higher majority. I just can't remember exactly how much. But it's something that we'll never, even if say I wanted to do that and I was for that, I could never get enough support in my life to figure that out. You need to go to sleep, Angel. Yes. So, let's see. Hold on, Mama's trying to look at these page numbers. I am. Department of Labor and Related Agencies, page 599. Excuse you, ma'am. Oh, baby, you need to go to sleep. You know, life would be a lot better. You're not going to miss anything, I promise. Department of Labor and Related, page 581. Share this tab. I got it, Flash Fan. I'm going to go through this and then I'll read over that. So, page 599. Sorry if I'm making anybody dizzy with this. It's just a whole lot quicker. 97, 98, 99. American workers lack a meaningful voice in today's workplace. Between 50 and 60% of workers have less influence than they want on critical workplace issues beyond pay and benefits. Congress should reintroduce and pass the Teamwork for Employees and Managers Team Act of 2022. Yes, Trump is a moderate. And I will look at page 454 right after. Yeah. And see how far they got. It's the ultra conservative wish list. Oh. You want this? Boop. It's too big for you right now. Hey, Chris. She pulled out my bonnet from the, there you go. She pulled out my bonnet from the desk. Because with Mr. Squid being asleep, I try to take everything out that I'm going to use to sleep. So I'm not digging through drawers and, cabinets and stuff when he's trying to sleep. Hey. No, it's not evil. It's J.K.D. Buck said it almost perfectly. It's the wish list of the ultra conservative. And as Devil Dog Cody said, Trump is a moderate. This is not Trump's plan. We did go through Agenda 47, which is Trump's plan. Both links, I wish I could pin them. Both links are in the chat somewhere. I will put them in both links in the description of this video so that you guys can find it on your own. So, alternative view. While some conservatives lament that workers lack sufficient voice in today's workplace, others interpret it the rise of independent and flexible work opportunities, significant expansion in family-friendly policies like paid family leave, and the decline in private sector unionization as indicators of workers' increasing competency and control. Another way to help expand workers' freedom and voice in traditional workplaces is by allowing them to choose who represents them in negotiations with their employer. The Workers' Choice Act would accomplish this by ending exclusive representation so that unions in right-to-work states are no longer forced to represent workers who do not want to join them. That's fair. Yeah, he also held a rally in Michigan not last week, but like Saturday, I think. So not all of this I agree with, but at the same time, like some of this it makes sense. So 454 was abortion. We're going to go back to, oh, look at that. I already had that section open. Excuse you, ma'am. Please, please, please stop. Yeah. You should be asleep. It is almost 10 o'clock. Yeah, I know. You're trying to suck up. I love you too. We're going to lay you down like this. Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, up and over. There we go. There we go. Yeah. All right. I'm going to have to do this left-handed now. 454, 52, 53. All right. So, okay, by statute or regulation, not the abortion thing, but by statute or regulation, the CDC guidance must be prohibited from taking on a prescriptive character. For example, never again should the CDC officials be allowed to say in their official capacity that school children, quote, should be masked or vaccinated through a schedule or otherwise, or prohibited from learning in a school building. Such decisions should be left to parents and medical providers. We have learned that when the CDC says that what people should do, it readily becomes a must, backed by severe punishments, including criminal penalties. CDC should report on the risks and effectiveness of all infectious disease mitigation measures dispassionately and leave the should and must policy calls to politically accountable parties. Conflicts of interest. There was a time when the CDC could not take money from the pharmaceutical industry, but in 1992, the agency discovered a loophole in the federal law. Shocker. Yeah, and I can also search, I think. I just have to look. 2-page view. It looks funny on my, I have to download the PDF and search from there. Federal laws that shield big pharma from competition. Because generics generally cost far less than brand name drugs, consumers begin to save money as soon as generic product comes on the market. The vast majority are very affordable, with 93% of generic products costing $20 or less. See, like, some of this stuff, it totally makes sense. Oh, here we go. Abortion pills. Abortion pills pose the single greatest threat to unborn children post-Roe world. The rate of chemical abortion in the U.S. has increased by more than 150% in the last decade. More than half of annual abortions in the U.S. are chemical rather than surgical. Yeah, I know, I just didn't want to take the time to try to download that much. Plus, trying to share a PDF is a lot harder than trying to share a tab, and I can switch really quick. I did see on Newsweek, when I opened my Twitter, right at the start of the stream, I was closing tabs that were unnecessary, and I opened my Twitter, and I saw a Newsweek article that said Kamala or Trump voters wanting or switching parties to vote for Kamala. And like, I just, yeah. Oh, sorry. Further down, respect for life and conscience. Bioethics reform. Research using fetal tissue obtained from elective abortions is immoral and obsolete. Yes. I think that's just gross. Like, woke policies, CMS. Reduce regulatory burdens on doctors. Doctors must be free to focus. There's things in here that are not bad. There's things in here where I'd be like, yeah, I'm on the section at a time. Regulatory reforms. Girl, you need to sleep. And from being in the medical field and being an insurance agent for a few years, this I like. Remove restrictions on physician-owned hospitals and encourage more direct competition between Medicare Advantage and private plans. Because when there's competition, prices go down. Yeah, there's a lot in here. I mean, remove barriers to direct primary care. Yeah, revisit the No Surprises Act. Protected consumers against balance bills, but also established a deeply flawed system for resolving payment disputes between insurers and providers. See, this is the problem we're having right now because she spent a few hours in the NICU when she was born, and Mr. Squid's insurance is still fighting paying for it because even though the hospital that we delivered at was in network, the contracted neonatal physicians that had privileges there were out of network. Make it make sense. So the insurance company wanted the neonatal service to change their billing codes. So we're fighting. She'll be 2 on Friday. And we're still fighting this battle of potentially paying a $3,000 bill because she was in the NICU for 3 hours. Make it make sense. There's too many hands in the cookie jar. Strengthen hospital price transparency. Like, hi, Christine. Yeah, so like I can prohibit abortion travel funding. Okay. Prohibit Planned Parenthood from receiving Medicaid funds. That's fair. All right, I got to get off of here in a few minutes because she is about ready to pass out, which means I need to actually get her in bed because it's almost 10 o'clock. And then I need to head to bed myself because at 8:30 tomorrow morning, we will be streaming closing arguments and the jury's decision on the witchcraft trial, which interestingly enough today, the defense, who I thought did a crappy job yesterday, they only had one witness, and it was a cop, and it made no sense. It's almost like they didn't try. So closing arguments will be tomorrow, and then we will await the jury's decision. And because we're skipping ahead, it won't be that long. Oh yeah, that article. Let me open up my email. Woo. And people wonder why I have elbow pain. This is why. This is why. This is the wrong email. There we go. So this is an email that, or an article that Flash Fan sent me. And we will, let me move this over here so that I can see y'all. Because it's not fun if I can't see. Oh, no problem. Thanks for hanging out with me. I like doing things like this where we research, we talk, we figure things out, because we learn together. And when we all don't agree on everything. I'm pretty sure I can find at least one thing that everybody disagrees with, and they might not all be the same things. Me and Christine might disagree on something. Me and Joanna might disagree on something else. Me and Flash Fan might disagree on something. But it's the manipulation from the mainstream media that I like to get rid of. And now that we all have a platform called YouTube, and they allow us to talk about things like this, sort of, but we can dispel the myths and get down to the root of the issues. Like, instead of just hearing what Project 2025 is and not hearing what Agenda 47 is, we just looked over them. Obviously, we didn't look over all of it because it's long, but we now have the resources to figure out things for ourselves instead of relying on people who hate us. I don't understand taking someone's word for it when they're only in the business of making money. We do? I honestly don't remember. Enlighten me. Okay, Project 2025 in 1921, in 1973, and 1981. Terrifying blueprints for the next Republican presidency or quadrennial tradition. It's hot Project 2025 summer here at the Infernal Triangle. First things first, the Heritage Foundation's 900-page Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise, the anchor of the marquee right-wing think tank's Project 2025, is not what you've heard. It's not some book of magical spells for President Trump's minions to cast, and poof, goes away every last vestige of truth, justice, and the American way. For one thing, much of it is too dumb to accomplish anything at all. Consider the part on FEMA in the chapter of Department of Homeland Security bylined by OG MAGA super freak and former Trump DHS official. And that's the other thing. Okay. Yes, we did sort of disagree on that. We agree to a point, and then we disagree on other things. So that's another criticism that people are talking about Trump is that he's associated, just because he doesn't agree with it, he is associated with everybody who does it. Hey, Peachy Peaches. And just by him being associated, like, okay, I'm associated with Flash Fan, but no offense, Flash Fan. You know this is not personal. That doesn't mean I'm voting liberal. I'm voting Democrat just because I talk to a Democrat. Like, just because I'm associated with something, like, doesn't mean that I agree with it. And just because I agree with some things that some people had said doesn't mean I agree with their entire position. And that's the other thing. It's this groupthink that the left is, and not all leftists, but the left media is projecting on Trump, that just because he is associated with everybody means that he automatically agrees with everything they say. And that's one of the other things I hate about and this was sort of brought up by Megan today. Just because I like Trump doesn't mean I like everything about Trump. We are not a group think kind of party. And that's why Republicans seem to be infighting and disagreeing a lot, because we don't do the group think shit. Like, two people can be a Republican and have a completely separate mindset on 90% of the issues. I don't do groupthink. Like, and Rogue Mama can tell you, her and we talk every day and we go back and forth and like we disagree about a lot and we not bicker, but we debate. And it's like at the end of the day, she's still a good friend of mine. Like, but we don't agree on everything. And she say the same thing about me. We get along, but that doesn't mean she likes everything about me. Like we don't do this groupthink stuff. Like, yes. Hey, Forever Not Me, how are you? Like, I have my own brain to make up my own mind. Yes. Yeah, I miss the mean tweets. And sometimes, that's one of my criticisms of Trump. Sometimes I just wish he would shut up. Like, just shut up. Sometimes not saying anything at all is more powerful than running your mouth. Tonight is not the case for me. But, like, oh. Thanks, Rogue Mama. I appreciate you. Yeah. And see, and here's my thought with that last part. The more you call somebody something misogynist, sexist, racist, yeah, he's a businessman, Flash fan. That's what he does. He talks. He's a smooth talker, but that's how he succeeded in business. It's just his personality. So, like, you know, I don't always like it, but I understand. And plus, he's from New York, so you know them New York people. But the far left thinking is that anyone who doesn't go and have the groupthink mentality is are a racist to this, to that. The more you throw those words around when they don't matter or when they're not appropriate, you water down the times that they are appropriate. Like, keep this one between you and me, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Squid's stepdad is a misogynist from all hell. I don't throw that word around lightly because if you throw it around all the time, like if Mr. Squid and I had a disagreement and I call him a misogynist, he's not a misogynist. We had a disagreement. But if I throw that word around all the time, it doesn't mean as much. It's like crying wolf. Nobody's going to believe you when somebody actually is. That's a big problem that I have in this groupthink society where when you disagree with someone, all of a sudden you start name calling. It's like you water down the times. Like, when there is racism in this world, but if you call someone a racist because they don't agree with you, not because you're a different skin tone than they are, just because you just don't agree with that position, that's not racism. That's just a disagreement. So you're turning something. I take this really personally because, like, it means a lot to me because you throw these words around, and it's now when somebody actually is experiencing real racism, it doesn't mean as much. I mean, it means as much to them, but like the rest of the world is like, just another incidence of this. It's like the boy who cried wolf. And I'll never get over that. Like, I'll never get used to that. And I don't like it. Like, yeah. And I didn't stick around long enough for them to read my super chat because my super chat started off with the words holy fuck. And I lost respect. Because, like, that to me, and my soapbox, for those of you who weren't here when I started this, I went on a 5-minute rant about how if you think someone, Dave, said that wearing a Trump hat, a Make America Great Again hat, was antagonistic. To me, that is the same thing as telling a girl who was ARPed, your skirt was too short, and the man couldn't help himself. It's the same thing. So to me, anybody that is triggered by a hat has got some serious personal issues that they need to work out. Like, and plus, you don't really hear about people wearing a Biden t-shirt getting attacked in public, but you sure as shit hear about people wearing MAGA hats getting attacked in public. So I went on a rant. Yeah, I was not happy about that comment because, yeah. I mean, I don't believe in violence, but like sometimes I don't believe in violence, but like that hit a nerve with me that I can't, and I'll never, like, you know how you forgive people for saying stuff, but you never forget? That'll be a comment that sticks with me until the day I die. Because you literally just compared a MAGA hat. Like, it's no different. And aren't leftists always the ones that are like, you can't victim blame, you can't victim blame? They've just victim blamed half of the country. Yeah, it's Ronald Reagan's. It started in the 80s. Yeah. And that's the hypocrisy of the left that I can't get over. They're supposed to be the party of tolerance, if I remember correctly. And they're the party that attacks people they don't agree with, calls people names that they don't agree with, tells people if you're black and you vote for Donald Trump, you're an Uncle Tom. Like, huh? That's racist. Actually, I really don't know if that is racist, because if you actually read that book, Uncle Tom was a good guy. So, like, yeah, Tammy, and I think, and this is just my personal opinion, because this is me on my rant. Part of the problem is these, and this. We forgot how to talk to each other without this. People in the same room texting each other. People texting instead of talking. And I'm guilty too. But we forgot how to problem solve and work issues out without using names. Like, fight it out with proof. Like, fight it out with facts. Like, just because you don't agree with somebody's bullcrap doesn't mean that they're an ist, you know? I mean, technically I'm not white, I'm peach in the summertime, and then in the winter I'm liquid paper, you know? But yeah, and I agree with Megan in the minimum wage was for minimum skills. Like, when you start off at a fast food restaurant, that is minimum skill, so you get minimum wage. That's a high school job. And then if you want to, like McDonald's, you move up into a shift leader or a manager and then a general manager. You move up in the company, and now you have skills that you get paid more. So I made $6.15 or $6.25 at my first job. So yeah, and that's the thing. It's not a lot of like center left, center right people. We agree on things. We agree on topics. The part we disagree on is how to achieve the goal. Like, we know we want to lower national debt. We just disagree on how to get there. Some people take the long way and some people go A to B. So, yes. Minimum wage was minimum skill. It's entry level. Just like when you graduate from college and you get a job in the field you actually went to college for, when that actually happens, you learn or you start off at the lowest on the pay scale. Yeah, it's not minimum wage, but it's minimum wage for that job. And then as you gain experience and as you gain knowledge and get better at it, you get more money because you have skills. I mean, yeah, my last job, I pretty much made minimum wage too. So, you know, it is what it is. My hospital job was good, but thanks to the coof, I'll never work in a hospital again. But anyway, I got to get going. I got to get her to bed because she's still fighting it. And she's not the type for me to just put her in her room and for her to go to sleep. It takes a little time. But I appreciate you guys sticking with me. I will be doing this every week. I do have an email on my page. It's squidproquo24@gmail. If you guys have ideas of things that you've heard on the news that you're like, this is bullcrap, or, you know, on the left, on the right, it doesn't matter. Any political misconception, even things about Kamala, if you hear something Kamala, if you hear something about her that you think is being propagated that's not true, send it to me and I'll check it out, because I'm all for equal treatment. I'm not going to talk crap about her or be, all high on Trump, even though I'm a Trump supporter and I'm not a Kamala fan. Because if I do remember correctly, even her own party didn't like her and she had to drop out of the race. So, yeah, and I don't know anything positive that she's done in the last 3.5 years. But if you hear things that you think aren't true and that are being propagated by the right, send them to me and I'll check them out, because I'm all about figuring out the truth no matter what it is. All right. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 8:30. Yeah. We're going to do closing arguments. All right. Good night, guys.